So the G1, at least for the A block, or actually the B block, is going to be coming down right to the wire. And on the A block side as well, there's going to be quite a lot coming right down to the wire as well. But we have a ton of people by the end of the show. By the end of night 12, we have a lot of eliminations. By the end of 13, we have even more. Pretty much over half the field eliminated by the end of night 13.
Yeah, hold on. I am looking at today. Let's see. At the end of okay, yeah, and as of the shows are covering here and B below, yeah. We only have 3 people, I think, alive in B block, and still a few in A block.
Yeah,
like 4, but if my math is correct.
Yeah, we had some pretty good matches in here. We had one stinker that really did not need to happen, or there might be a couple of those. Some standouts that were surprises, and I think one of the big things, Great Okan had 2 really good matches.
Yes.
The one being against Tomohiro Ishii and the other one against Kota Ibushi. Though Kota Ibushi can drag a blow-up doll to a 5-star match, so, you know, it has. I don't think it was 5-star.
Have we talked on the podcast about the theme song, Max the Max? Holy shit, has that, like, gone from... what is this to like a constant earworm?
No, I have no idea what you're talking about. So,
you must just skip past the intro videos
for the G1, like the intro to the show. Yeah, I just skipped that.
Yeah. Oh man, you're missing the Max the Max song. It's amazing.
All right, I will. Since I'm gonna watch the show that aired this morning. After we're done this, I will make sure to not skip it.
Eric, you gotta max the max.
Okay. I will see what we can do about that. Before we get into reviewing these shows, you're listening to the That's Wrestling podcast. If you're listening to this as a podcast, we do this show live on Twitch and on YouTube. So you can follow the links in the show notes to those channels. It'll let you know when we go live. If you follow us over on Twitter at That's Wrestling 1 with the number 1, I post when we're going live over there as well. So you'll know you can hang out in the chat and all that fun stuff. And comments, question, feedback, you can send those to Eric at thatswrestling.com. And also you can join our Discord. Link is in the show notes for that as well. And then you can follow Trae at Wrestleism on the Twitter. His stuff is in the show notes. How's it going in your neck of the woods? It's been a couple days since we talked.
Yeah, has it? I guess it's been
3 days.
Everything runs together. Just trying to keep. I've finally caught up on the G1, and which means I've had a little bit of time to catch up on other stuff. And God, there's just so much stuff.
I know, and this week gets thrown out of whack because there is no Dynamite tomorrow. The next AEW isn't until Friday, and then they just announced Minoru Suzuki versus Bryan Danielson is happening on. They're going to do a 1-hour YouTube show run-up to Rampage on TNT. So they're going to be fighting on that YouTube show, which is going to be crazy that Minoru Suzuki versus Bryan Danielson is happening on YouTube. And then Dynamite is the following night. Of course, everything gets thrown out because that doesn't happen. But also it gets thrown out because I am going on vacation from Friday to Monday. I'm assuming I will be able to watch the shows while I'm on vacation, but I'm not 100% sure. I'm taking my Fire Stick with me, so hopefully where I'm staying has good enough Wi-Fi that I can watch this stuff. So that'll be fun. And yesterday we brought back the dog that we had gotten the previous Monday that we thought was going to be joining our family, but hated our dog and tried to attack her multiple times. We brought her to her foster home yesterday, and she fit right in and is perfectly fine with all their dogs.
Aw, that's wonderful.
So she's okay, but it's been a lot for us. It's been a lot for our golden retriever, who had gotten attacked a couple times by the dog. She was super happy. She slept in bed with us all night, which she rarely does anyways. She hasn't left my side all day until right before we started doing this, and I fed her dinner, and then she decided, oh, I'm going to sleep on the couch for now.
My cat, which she's 4, and when we got her, she was supposed to be my cat, but I can never have a cat because, like, any cat will choose my wife because she's a cat person. And so, like, my wife works from home, but she's been, like, going into the office one day a week, and she was gone to the office today, and that fucking cat just meows at me incessantly, like, just yelling at me, bitching about nothing. What? And weirdly, like, so we share a house with my best friend who also has a cat, and that cat loves me. So the cat the cat that is someone else's cat loves me, and the cat that was supposed to be my cat is just a pain in the ass.
And then today, each month I give, her flea and tick meds and heartworm med and whatnot. And it's beef flavored. But if I give it to her as a treat, last month I did this. I gave it to her as a treat, and she just, like, held it in her mouth and refused to eat it. And she just held it in her mouth, so she's weird with food. Like, I've stuck, like, an apple slice in her mouth, and she has no idea it's food, and then I have to, like, manually close her mouth so she bites it, and she's like, oh, this is food? So I tried to do that. For like 10 minutes, she would not take it. So finally, I just took it, dropped it in her food bowl, and then she ate it. So,
dog.
Yeah, like, I can't feed her treats, but if I drop it into her food bowl, then she'll eat it. She's a weirdo. All right, let's get into this show here. G1 Night 11 in Hiroshima, October 7th, 2021. We get a prelim match of Ryohei Oiwa versus El Desperado, and Desperado just stretched the young lion a bit. Oiwa hit a gut-wrench suplex and a really nice drop kick. He got so high, he almost flew. Like, El Desperado could have run under him standing up. He got so damn high. But then,
he does such a great drop kick.
Yeah, Desperado ends up submitting him with a standing Indian deathlock in the end.
Oiwa is a puppy with big paws, as the saying goes. He is gonna fill out, and he is gonna be a hell of a heavyweight. Like, he's so agile. He's got like an Okada level drop kick. So
I believe they said he's only 19 as well.
Yeah, like I said, he's gonna fill out, and he's gonna be a big solid sumbitch.
Then we have Kenta's bye match, but it was against Hiromu Takahashi. And this match was freaking awesome.
Yes.
Hiromu's just insane, which makes any of his matches awesome. Hiromu just flies right out of the gate with a shotgun drop kick into the corner, bunch of forearms. They fight on the outside. They're both thrown into the barricade. Hiromu thrown into the ring post, and then the barricade, and then the barricade. They exchange a bunch of strikes. Kenta bounces Hiromu's head off the barricade. Kenta reverses a triangle choke, a bunch of kicks from Kenta. Kenta makes fun of Naito's pose, which was a nice little touch. Kenta removes a corner pad, whips Hiromu into it. Hiromu comes back with some chops, a flying head scissors, a falcon arrow for a 2 count. Kenta hits the DDT, puts on an STF. Kenta eventually low bridges Hiromu to the floor. He tries a green killer on the floor, but Hiromu pushes Kenta into the barricade to escape. Kenta hits a power slam on the floor, and then just kills Hiromu with this basement drop kick to the side of the head. He pretty much lands on top of him. Kenta gives an overhead throw into the turnbuckle. They exchange forearms. Hiromu's pushed into the ref, who then goes into the exposed corner. Kenta hits a DDT. He acquires a chair. Hiromu catches him with the chair. Kenta tosses the chair down. Hiromu gives Kenta some free shots. Kenta throws the chair in his face and then hits him across the back a couple times. Hits the green killer and on the chair. He drags the ref over, but Hiromu kicks out at 2. Hiromu escapes a GTS a couple times. Some big palm strikes from Kenta. Kenta exposes the knee. Hiromu doesn't get hit with the Busaiko knee, but he ends up getting hit with a lariat. He ends up hitting a light lariat of his own, but then hits a victory royale, a couple thrust kicks from Hiromu, and a big lariat for a 2 count. And then we get drives Kenta into the turnbuckle. Hiromu looking for a time bomb, but Kenta then runs Hiromu into the exposed corner and then rolls up Hiromu for the win. This was just, even though it wasn't a block match, definitely worth seeing because it was good.
It's like 3 or 4 schoolboy wins in a row for Kenta. He might have more than Yano at this point.
At least in this tournament.
Yeah, Kevin was pointing out that, Kenta might be like somebody that, Hiromu might study and aspire to be, because Kenta did the thing that Hiromu aspires to, which was to, be a junior heavyweight and become a heavyweight champion as essentially a junior heavyweight. So, this was, pretty interesting match. You get, flashes of, I guess, the old Kenta, and then there's a lot of the new heel Kenta, which is good stuff. This was, quite a good match. It's like a lot of the times you kind of end up wanting more of Kenta, but Hiromu was awesome, and this match was quite good.
Yeah, I was a big fan of it. Worth go checking. Kenta leaves the evening with 8 points. The 8 points that he went in with, obviously. Then we had Tangaloa versus Kota Ibushi, and Tangaloa is just having such a good G1, and I've really enjoyed pretty much all of his matches. Ibushi can't take Tangaloa down with shoulder blocks. Tangaloa ends up taking Ibushi down with one moments later. Hits a crossbody to the floor from Ibushi. Tangaloa is tossed into the barricade, but then he spears Ibushi on the floor. Gets some strikes back in the ring. He hits an exploder for a 2 count. They exchange running boots. A flying mid kick from Ibushi puts Tangaloa down. A striking combo from Ibushi, then a power slam, and then a springboard moonsault for 2. Tangaloa hits a few strike combos of his own, hits a blue thunder bomb for a 2 count, power bomb from Ibushi for a 2 count. Tangaloa fights out of Kamigoye, then fights out of one to the back of the head, and Ibushi it ends up hitting Ibushi with a Kamigoye to the back of the head, which was a really good spot. Hits a sit-out power bomb for a 2 count. Tangaloa hits a German suplex, but Ibushi just eats it and hits a German of his own. Tangaloa hits a poison Rana. Ibushi went for one of his own, but they totally fucked up the spot. And Tangaloa bumped himself.
Yes.
And they just played it off like it worked. So a little bit of this would have been a much better match if they didn't screw up that one thing.
But that was like the one thing.
Yeah. Ibushi hits a Bomaye. Tangaloa hits a spear. To counter. I don't know what I wrote here. I wrote Tangaloa hits a spear to blow the Kamigoye. I'm not sure what I meant to actually write there. I'm assuming you countered it. I can't remember the match at this point.
I think so.
Tangaloa goes for apeshit, but Kota hits a tombstone and then a Kamigoye and gets the win. So Kota Ibushi goes up to 10 points here, and Tangaloa just stays with his 4.
Tangaloa has to be a pretty strong candidate for most improved. Like, he's actively good now. He's got the size and power, but he's also crazy agile. He doesn't have Tonga's charisma, but it's there. Like, he's got some.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things he's starting to do that standing moonsault more often, which I don't think we've really seen a ton of over the past few years as a tag team. I don't think he's really used it, but now he's using a standing moonsault, so that's something. And just some of the counters out of apeshit that they've done in this tournament has been great, and on his brother as well, out of the gun stun, same thing. Fun counters out of it that they've come up with. Good stuff.
Yeah, but all of Tanga's matches have delivered. Like, he was the one that I think everybody was most leery of, and he deserves to be here.
Mm-hmm.
He is grade 1.
Yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to next year, and I hope he's in it again.
Yeah.
He's one I would keep in the G1. Then we had Yujiro Takahashi with 4 points versus Zack Sabre Jr. with 8 points. Early, Yujiro tries to tries to hit a low blow, but Zack catches him. Zack keeps working submissions. He then starts attacking the arm. Yujiro catches a kick and bites Zack's foot, but he has shoes on, so he can only do so much. I mean, unless he's like a blowfish. Like, have you ever seen like porcupine puffers are just so strong they can still sever your finger even if you're wearing chainmail gloves. They'll sever the finger just by pure force.
God damn.
Yeah, they're hardcore. So I try to keep my hands out of the fish tank when I used to have a porcupine puffer. Single leg low drop kick from Yujiro. He then throws Zack into the barricade on the outside. Peter distracts the ref. Yujiro uses the walking stick, gets some forearms, another low drop kick, but only for a 1 count. Get a backdrop suplex from Yujiro for 2. Big uppercuts from Zack, and he goes back to attacking Yujiro's arm. He keeps working some arm submissions, a bunch of reversals from both of the guys of various moves. Yujiro hits a reverse DDT, hits a running boot to the face. Yujiro turns a guillotine attempt into a fisherman's buster. So this is the second time in this tournament I've seen somebody counter Zack's flying guillotine attempt into something. Last time I think Ichii just kind of continued the movement and just threw him. They exchange various strikes. Zack puts on an octopus, but Yujiro powers it into a Miami Shine for 2. Yujiro hits Pimp Juice, but only gets a 2 count. Zack avoids Big Juice and then just wraps Yujiro up 6 ways from Sunday, and he gets the tap out victory. So Zack gets his 2 points. He's at 10, and Yujiro stays at 4. And when Zack is leaving, he yells, "I'm back on track."
The Tesco meal deal. The submission hold that Zack used to win here.
That's a funny one.
This was fun because, like, Yujiro can wrestle, but he was still totally out of his element with Zack's submission game. And Zack just being Zack is always a win for me. Oh god, the Zack countering the intercollegiate slam with an arm drag into a crucifix hold, that ruled. And good finishing sequence, and yeah, this was good stuff. Yujiro, another guy proving his worth this year.
Yeah, usually Yujiro's matches are just kind of like, okay, let's just get this over with type of deal. But yes, his have been much more entertaining this year.
Yeah.
Next up, we had Toru Yano with 6 points versus Shingo Takagi, also with 6 points. And since I don't speak Japanese, I'm not sure what Yano was yelling about. He was yelling a lot before they even started the match. Yano blinds himself with a bag, and Yano decides, what the hell? which was a bad move, and he blinds himself as well. Yano, of course, removed the bag and tries to roll up Shingo. Shingo puts a bag back on Yano's head, cinches it up. Yano's thrown to the outside, but he reverses a whip into the barricade. He removes the bag and sprays hand sanitizer in the eyes. And to make matters worse for Shingo, he puts the bag over his head, sprays hand sanitizer into it, and then cinches it up and throws him under the ring. He gets back into the ring, of course. They have a duel with the corner pads. Shingo beats on Yano for a bit. They exchange some forearms. Big belly-to-belly suplex from Yano. Yano sent into the exposed corner. Shingo gets dropped toe hold into the exposed corner. And Yano hits a low blow to Shingo. Yano tries to roll him up, but Shingo kicks out. Shingo hits a pumping bomber, pulls Yano's shirt over his face, hits a sliding lariat, hits a Last of the Dragon, and gets the win. This match was way too damn long.
Yeah, but of the Yano matches in this tournament, like I enjoyed this one the most. I thought it was the most entertaining. Maybe I was tired, but of all the Yano matches I've seen lately.
Yeah, I mean, I thought the Kenta versus Yano was fun as well, but this one, I guess you could rank it up there. It just went way too long.
Yeah.
So Shingo leaves the night with 8 points, Yano with 6 points, and then we go to the main event of the evening, which was Tomohiro Ishii with 6 points versus Great-O-Khan with 8 points. And this was just a really fun match. They locked up early, and then collisions in the middle. Khan takes down Ishii with a shoulder tackle. They exchange a bunch of strikes. Khan tries to rip Ishii's ears off. The choke slam. I have no idea what this meant. It wasn't a choke slam. He chokes him with his shin across the windpipe. Khan hits a flying Mongolian chop off the second rope. I believe it was the second. Works an arm crank. Khan attacks the arm, hits a vertical suplex. We get a vertical suplex from Ishii for 2. Khan sets Ishii up on the top in the Tree of Woe. Basement dropkick to the face. They exchange a bunch of chops, and then a couple Mongolian chops from Khan. Ishii hits a backdrop suplex. Ishii gives Khan a bunch of free shots and no-sells them. Khan then does the same, and then Khan drops Ishii with a big forearm. Khan works a head and arm choke, and Ishii escapes and works a Kimura and then an arm bar, and Khan gets to the ropes to break that up. They headbutt each other in the forehead a bunch of times, which is something I do not want to see them doing. Ishii drops Khan with a headbutt to the face. Sliding lariat for 2. We get a big lariat from Ishii. Khan hits a gourd buster, and then they double down when they get back up. Khan hits... It was kind of like a sling blade, but he didn't rotate as much as you would for a sling blade. Then a delayed back suplex for 2. Khan works sheep killer and then hits a TTD for a 2 count. And then Khan rolls through a German, kicks Ishii in the face with a bicycle kick. Ishii answers with a lariat. Khan kicks out at 1, but then collapses. Big lariat from Khan. They counter each other a bunch of times. Insecurity from Ishii. A massive lariat for a super close 2 count. And then Ishii hits the vertical drop brainbuster and gets the victory. This was a very entertaining match. And Ishii comes away with 8 points. Khan still with 8 points as well. And I have to say, Ishii... amazing seller, because after the match he can barely stand and can barely walk to the back on his own, and he's stumbling up the aisle. He's just so great.
He's amazing. Nobody sells like him. It's just otherworldly. This match was very good. Liked it quite a bit. Took them a long time to kind of get out of first gear. Like, you kind of felt like they're holding back because they were trying to work a main event match with a slow build, but they'd be a lot better served with a much more condensed match. This match probably would have been better if it were in the middle of the card. Like, I assume the main event here was supposed to be Kenta and Naito, and with that off, you couldn't really put any of these other matches in the main event, so these guys are in by default. But it was good, but I really want like a just wild, like 12 to 15 minute brawl between these two.
Yeah, which we ended up getting on night 13 with Kota Ibushi. So, like, they basically did what you need a main event Great Okan match to be.
Yeah.
But it was, I mean, I guess they could have done Tongalo versus Ibushi in the main. That could have worked as well, I think. But neither. But since Tongalo only had 4 points, it wouldn't make as much sense to put him on top.
Yeah,
but it was fine.
I mean, it was good. It was fine. There was nothing wrong with it. It was a satisfying main event.
Yep.
It just, I think that they would have a very fun, shorter sprint of a match.
Yeah. We move on to night number 12 in Kochi, October 8th, 2021. They kick it off with the Young Lion, Kosei Fujita, versus El Desperado. And Fujita, he has some really good mat skills. I like his, he works a technical, like, very technical style. He slaps on a straight armbar with crazy speed. Like, this would make Ronda Rousey proud on how quickly he puts on that straight armbar. I don't know if you picked up on that or not.
I haven't, but yeah, he's Young Lions, man. Such a joy to watch.
Desperado ends up in the end submitting Fujita with the standing Indian Deathlock, just like he did the previous night with Oiwa.
Good times.
Yep. We kick off the first match of the evening with Tanga with 2 points versus Yoshi-Hashi, also with 2 points, and I think Yoshi-Hashi is already eliminated at this point. Because he does not hold... So. Yeah, because he lost to both Cobb and Okada, so the best he could do is tie them, but they both have tiebreakers over him, so that would not work. So we have... we have a little exchange to start. Yoshi-Hashi hangs Tama on the top rope, hits the drop kick to the back of the head. Tama takes control with some basic strikes and headlocks. Flying head scissors from Yoshi-Hashi gives him an opening. He hits a neck breaker for 2. We get some back and forth. Tongan twist from Tama. He hits the follow through Death Valley driver and a top rope splash for a 2 count. Tama goes for the gun stun, but Yoshi-Hashi turns it into a backstabber. I really liked that counter. That was a cool counter. Kumigoroshi from Yoshi-Hashi for 2. They reverse finishers. Yoshi-Hashi hits a dragon suplex. Insaguri from Tama. Super kick from Yoshi-Hashi. Big lariat from Yoshi-Hashi. And then he hits Karma for the victory. So even though he's already eliminated, he's got 4 points now. And Tama is now eliminated with his just 2. So at the end of this, both guys are out.
It was a good match. It was just, we're in the deep waters now, and neither of these guys are going to be in the money, so it was a good match for the sake of a good match.
We go into the next match with the same type of situation. Chase Owens with 2 points, Hirooki Goto with 2 points. Goto is already eliminated. Chase comes right out of the gate with a drop kick, and then another on the outside, and then a missile drop kick off the top rope in the ring for a 2 count. He just came out flying here. Goto hits a backdrop suplex, tries a few pins. Owens puts on the Texas Twister. Goto gets to the ropes. Goto hits a big lariat to get a reprieve. He hits a bulldog hits a bulldog for a 2 count, belly to belly suplex, and then Goto puts on an armbar. Chase gets a foot on the rope. We get a last shot from Owens that looked brutal as hell. for a 2 count. Owens wants the package pile driver on the apron, but Goto backdrops him out of it onto the apron instead. They exchange strikes. Chase drops Goto with a back elbow. Goto then drops Chase with an elbow. Chase drops Goto with a C-trigger. Hits a jewel heist for 2. Tries a roll-up out of a GTR attempt. Hits a C-trigger. Can't hit the package pile driver. Goto hits the GTR for the victory. And same thing. Chase with 2 points eliminated. Goto with 4 points eliminated. So both of these guys are eliminated as well.
Yeah, another good match. Just in theory, they're playing for, like Kevin Kelly says, you want to get the points. So you're making a case to be in the tournament next year. But yeah, another good match between guys who aren't going anywhere this year.
Yep. Next up, we had the undefeated Jeff Cobb with 10 points versus Sanada with 4. So Sanada sitting on the bubble here. Cobb just pushes Sanada down when they lock up. Sanada low bridges Cobb to the outside, hits a cannonball off the apron. Sanada tries to pick up Cobb, but he just falls right back on top of Sanada. Does a little surfing on Sanada's back. Cobb runs Sanada back and forth between the corners a couple times, a couple backbreakers, and then just tosses him aside for a 2 count. Sanada hits a drop kick to the knee, Hurricane Rana in the middle. Cobb catches a crossbody to the floor and then runs Sanada into the post. Hits a slam and a standing moonsault in the middle for 2. Springboard missile dropkick from Sanada. He hits a standing moonsault for 2. Shot to the knee, and then a TKO from Sanada for a 2 count. Magic screw for a 2 count. And then Cobb stops Sanada's moonsault a couple times. Hits a gut-wrench German suplex. Sanada blocks Tour of the Islands by grabbing onto a skull end. And then he counters a power slam into a skull end. Tries the O'Connor roll for a 2 count. Cobb catches a Rana. Sanada escapes, but then Cobb catches a moonsault and then hits him with Tour of the Islands to get the win. So Cobb goes up to 12, and now Sanada is eliminated, and anybody who has 4 or less points at the end of the night would be eliminated as well.
Jeff Cobb, should not exist. He was made in a laboratory somewhere. Such an incredible combination of power and agility. And this was a good dynamic because, Cobb is great at being a brick shithouse, and Sanada is great at using speed and technique against dangerous opponents. I started to wonder at the result because Sanada is exactly the level of guy that they would have upset Cobb if they were going to, if someone was going to. But it didn't. Sanada could not avoid the tour. But this rocked. And yes, Sanada, who went to the finals last year, already eliminated.
Yeah, and only got 4 points through the first 6 matches.
Bad time.
Bad times for Sanada this year. Next, we went on to Evil versus Hiroshi Tanahashi. An Evil match, and I hated it. They start off with some mat work. Tana hits a second rope cross body, but I wrote cross bow. Not right. Plays a little air guitar. Dick distracts. Evil attacks. This is a line that I've pretty much written in every G1, every Evil match for the past 2 years. Tanahashi thrown in the barricade. Evil grabs a chair and attacks the knee while Togo is distracting the ref. He attacks more attacks to the knee from Evil. We get some eye poking, some hair pulling. Tanahashi hits a flying forearm out of the corner. Somersault senton. Dick punches Tanahashi in the gut behind the ref's back. Tanahashi thrown into the barricade. Eats a lariat on the floor. Thrown into the barricade, knocking over the timekeeper. Evil puts on the Dark Scorpion on the floor. Tanahashi answers the 20 count. Evil hits a Fisherman Buster for 2. Tanahashi hits a drop kick to the knee. Hits a twist and shout. Baseball slide drop kick to Togo on the outside. Sling blade to Evil for 2. Sling Blade. Evil tries to stop Tanahashi's high fly flow by grabbing his leg. Tanahashi ends up hitting it to the back. I totally wrote that incorrectly, huh? Evil tries. I'm guessing it was Togo who tried to stop Tanahashi's high fly flow by grabbing his leg. I wrote Evil. Tanahashi hits it to Evil's back, puts on the clover leaf, and the ref gets yanked out of the ring by Dick Togo, and Evil is tapping like a madman. Togo tries to attack with the U.S. title belt. Tanahashi puts on the clover leaf on Togo. The ref is still down. Evil attacks him, hits a low blow. Tanahashi hits a low blow of his own. Evil throws the ref at Tanahashi, who then ends up getting shoulder blocked by Tanahashi, so he's taken out. Evil hits Darkness Falls, grabs the title belt, hits Tanahashi with it. Everything is Evil, gets the pin. Anyway. One, I don't want to see this match again, but we're probably going to, because Evil has just pinned the U.S. champion, which just pisses me off, because I don't want to see this match again.
Evil sucks.
So Evil leaves the night with 10 points, Tanahashi with 6 points. So Tanahashi on the verge of elimination. Then we have our final match of the evening, Kazuchika Okada versus Taichi. I thought this was a pretty decent match. We get a little feeling out early. Taichi chokes Okada a bit. Okada throws Taichi into the barricade, hits a DDT on the floor. Then Okada's thrown into the barricade and choked with the camera cable. Taichi pulls up the pads on the outside and gives Okada a DDT on the exposed floor. Taichi cranks the neck. Okada hits some forearms. Taichi throws Okada down with a choke. Okada hits a flapjack and they double down. Running back elbow and a DDT from Okada for a 2 count. Hook kick from Taichi puts Okada down. And then we get back and forth shots from both guys. Big head kick from Taichi. And then a Uranagi for a 2. And then a big drop kick from Okada into the money clip. Then we get. Then he hits a body slam and a top rope elbow drop. Taichi super kicks Okada's head into the 3rd row. They exchange boots to the face. Taichi drops Okada with a forearm. Okada blocks the Black Mephisto and sits down into a pin attempt. Taichi hits a drop kick, an enziguri, dangerous suplex for a 2 count. And then they lariat each other a bunch of times, but Taichi gets the better of Okada. But then Okada comes back, hits a drop kick, then the spinning tombstone. Taichi gets on a Gedo clutch for 2. Then Okada hits the Falcon Arrow, and then the Rainmaker, and gets the victory. So Okada with 12 points as well, keeping his undefeated streak alive. Taichi with 4. Taichi is eliminated. So this pretty much just leaves Cobb, Okada, and Evil as being the most alive, with Tanahashi sitting on the bubble.
Yeah. This was good. It wasn't like great. It was a Taichi match, which made great sense from a psychology standpoint, but isn't always the most fun to watch.
Yeah.
So, but deal is that everybody knows Okada completely outclasses Taichi as a wrestler, but Okada made the mistake of playing Taichi's game for most of the match. So they didn't really get into high gear until nearly the 20-minute mark, but then, for the last 3 or 4 minutes, it was very good.
Yeah, Taichi, it's really a crapshoot with Taichi on what you're gonna get on that particular night. He's probably one of the most inconsistent wrestlers that I've seen at least in New Japan. Like, most guys, I know what I'm going to get out of him, but Taichi is like, I could have an awesome match or I could have a really bad match.
Yeah, it's so weird. Like with Evil, you know it's gonna suck. With Yano, you know it's gonna be silly.
Right.
Taichi, it might be like middling as shit, or it might be really fucking good.
And I figured, okay, Okada and Taichi, I should get good, but it was just okay.
Yeah, I mean, it was, it was decent.
So Taichi eliminated basically Cobb, Okada, Evil, Tanahashi. The only one still alive, Tanahashi,
And
clearly sitting on the bubble. If Okada or Cobb win their next match, then Tanahashi's out.
good friend El Desperado, who's on commentary, gets up and helps his teammate Taichi to the back.
Next up, we had Night 13 from Osaka, October 9th, 2021. They kick it off with Ryohei Oiwa with Kosei Fujita versus Yoshinobu Kanemaru and El Desperado. What did these two do to deserve that? It was fine, but they got the shit beat out of them. And El Desperado puts on numero dos for the tap out.
Yeah, the two young men who don't have 20 matches between them were no match for the multiple-time junior heavyweight tag team champions.
Then we have... Oh, go for it.
Not to spoil it, but Night 14 has Oiwa versus Hiromu, and that rules.
And that was awesome.
Yes.
So we go on to our Tomohiro Ishii gets his bye match, and his bye match is with Hiromu Takahashi. And I loved the beginning of this match. It was awesome because they just ran around like madmen, missing everything. And it was great because I love dodge wrestling. I love counter wrestling. And this was just wonderful because I know Tomohiro Ishii does this type of he gets that high speed jolt for like a minute and just runs wild. This time neither of them hit anything, and it was awesome. Hiromu makes the poor decision of trying to shoulder tackle Ishii. It does not go well for him, though it's really funny because they're not that far different in actual weight because Hiromu, I think, is actually taller than Ishii is. Because I think Ishii just sits right at 100 kilos, and Hiromu's at like 94 kilos.
Hiromu actually beat Ishii in the New Japan Cup last year.
I don't even remember that.
I had not remembered, but yeah, he did.
All right.
Hiromu beat Honma, Yano, and Ishii before he lost to Okada, I think.
They exchange chops, but Hiromu is the one who ends up getting dropped. Ishii no-sells some forearms and then just lays in a bunch of chops of his own. Hiromu hits a Falcon Arrow for a 2 count. They exchange forearms. Hiromu dropped again. He is just not coming out on the positive side of the ledger on strikes. They both hit shoulder tackles and then double down. Ishii blocks a sunset bomb to the floor. They fight on the apron. Hiromu hits a drop kick to the knee and then a Death Valley driver on the apron. Ishii avoids another DVD in the ring and hits Hiromu with a backdrop suplex, and they double down once again. Hiromu hits... this was like a cross between a Death Valley driver and a Falcon Arrow. I have no idea what to call it. That's the best I can come up with the description. Like, he went up for a DVD, and he kind of like halfway landed Falcon Arrow and halfway not. I don't know. Ishii drops Hiromu with a headbutt. He hits a sliding lariat for 2 count. Hiromu blocks a suplex, hits a crazy bulldog. And Ishii hits a German suplex. Hiromu hits a super kick and then another, and then drops Ishii with a third. Hiromu runs Ishii into the turnbuckle upside down. Hiromu hits the time bomb for a 2 count. He hits another super kick, a big lariat for a 2 count. Big lariat from Ishii, an Insaguri, another big lariat for 2. Roll-up attempt from Hiromu for a 2 count, and then Ishii fires back with another lariat, hits the vertical drop brainbuster, and gets the win. This was just fun. I love this match.
Yeah, this was very fun. The problem was like it just all I could think was Hiromu should just be in the G1. Like I want more of this. Hiromu is crazy and great.
Yeah, I mean, for a junior heavyweight, he's on the heavier side. I mean, he's shy by like 20 pounds of what the normal cutoff is.
Yeah, and I think everybody kind of knows that he's destined to be one of those guys who kind of moves up or in between. He's got too much charisma to just stay a junior forever.
Yeah, and just for comparison, he's actually about 10 pounds heavier than Kenta is.
Yeah.
So.
And Hiromu gave Ishii a hell of a fight, but Ishii's kind of, on a tear. And this was really, really good, really fun.
Yeah, so Ishii remains with his 8 points at the end of this evening, and we move on to Zack Sabre Jr. with 10 points versus Kenta with 8 points. And this match was awesome.
Holy shit, this rule.
This is the Kenta we want.
This is the Kenta that I want to see. Like, I would be enjoying this tournament so much more if we got this Kenta every time out.
Yeah, so Kenta dragged Zack Sabre Jr. out of Zack Sabre Jr.'s normal style, and for some reason, suddenly both of them channeled Ishii and Suzuki.
Yeah.
Because they just went straight at each other with forearms. Over and over and over, back and forth, back and forth. Zack does start to work some submissions. Kenta comes back with some kicks to the back, kick to the chest. Zack gets thrown into the barricade on the outside. Kenta exposes a corner and throws Zack into it a few times. They just keep throwing tons of different strikes. Zack twists the neck a few times and then back and forth with some more strikes. Kenta snaps Zack's neck across the top rope, hits a flying lariat off the top for a 2 count. Zack avoids the green killer and wraps up Kenta in the ropes, and then starts stomping on the surgically repaired shoulder and starts attacking that arm. Kenta catches Zack with a back fist, and they both collapse. Kenta then does hit the green killer. Double stomp off the top for a 2 count. Kenta tries to get on the game over, but Zack gets on a triangle. Kenta reverses it back to a game over. Zack reverses it back out. He cranks on the arms behind the back. Zack slams the knee a few times, kicks to the knee. Kenta hits a desperation Busaiku knee. Zack catches a second attempt at the Busaiku knee and gets on a knee bar. They then slap the crap out of each other. Kenta hits a clothesline. Zack grabs a calf slicer and then adds in a stretch muffler on the other leg, which was just crazy. Kenta grabs the ropes. Zack hits a bunch of kicks to the knee, tries a Euro clutch for 2. They then slap the crap out of each other again, and Zack blocks the GTS and gets on an ankle lock. Kenta rolls forward, launching Zack into the exposed corner, which then Kenta picks him up, hits a GTS, and pins Zack Sabre Jr. to bump Kenta up to 10 points, tied with the leaders in this block.
This was the perfect mix of technique and intensity and wrestling and striking that I love and I want to see, and it never gets old. And the way you called it, the way that Zack caught that Busaiku knee and rolled through into a leg lock was just gorgeous. And God, this match was fucking great.
Yes, so this is the greatness that we want to see out of Kenta. And of course, Zack Sabre Jr. can pretty much drag anything to at least a 3.5 star match anyway. So
yes,
but this is great. I would put this at like 4.5. I love that so much.
Yeah, I said 4.25, but it could have very easily been 4.5.
Next up, we had a match that I wish I didn't see, and I did not write that much. This was Toru Yano with 6 points versus Yujiro Takahashi with 4 points. Takahashi attacks before Yano even gets into the ring. That part I liked. He lands full body weight on Yano when he does a tope suicida. He then goes to Yano's bag of stuff and grabs a roll of tape out of it, and then takes Yano's chair that he brings down to the ring, and he tapes Yano to the chair and kicks him over. Yano's forced to answer a 20 count, which he does. Yujiro tries, but can't undo one of the turnbuckle pads, which was just hilarious. Because he ended up pulling... You know when you tie you tie your shoes and you do the bow tie, but if you accidentally pull one of the loops through and the tail goes through, then you can't undo it. It takes a while. That's what happened. He pulled the loop and ended up tying it worse. Peter distracts the ref. Yujiro hits Yano with the walking stick. They exchange low blows, and in the end, Yano picks up the win. It pretty much went to hell after that.
Yeah. There was a count out, and it took him 10 minutes to get there, and just was done.
Yeah, Yujiro got handcuffed. They started fighting under the ring, and Yujiro ended up handcuffed behind his back. And that is how Yano got the count out. And after this match, Yano has 8 points, Yujiro with 4. Yujiro is eliminated from the contention.
Shame.
Next up, we had Tanga Loa with 4 points versus Shingo Takagi with 8 points. Again, great showing from Tanga Loa. I really liked this match. It was a fun match. They come firing forearms right out of the gate. They exchange some impact moves. They fight on the apron. Tanga Loa hits a backdrop suplex on the edge of the ring. And this was when he was standing on the apron to the apron. So it wasn't he was standing on the floor and just backdrop somebody on the edge, which, you're only falling like a foot. No, this was the full shebang, which looked like it sucked. That's a long fall.
Yeah, man, it's amazing to me how my reaction from Tanga Loa has gone from okay, whatever, to all right.
Yeah,
like he's somebody that I want to see in the never title picture when the world normalizes.
Yes,
he's just so many good, fun, intense, what we call mean guy matches, thoroughly good shit, and then the freaking power slam off the top rope that looks so good. Almost getting ape shit, but Shingo getting out of it. So many good counters to ape shit in this tournament.
Yeah, he hit the slingshot senton back into the ring, hits the standing moonsault that we talked about earlier for a 2 count. Tanga Loa hits some step-in shoulders in the corner, hits some forearms, a running power slam for 2, puts on the Operation Jado Killer. Shingo gets out of that. A couple of strikes from Shingo, and then I love he's been doing this. He does a fake out strike, so people start to duck, and then he just grabs a DDT. He hit a vertical suplex for 2. Tanga Loa comes back, hits a blue thunder bomb for a 2 count. They exchange various suplexes. Tanga Loa hits a sit-out powerbomb for 2, and then Tanga Loa hits a second rope power slam that almost went seriously bad because his foot slipped on one of the sides, but he did manage to just get enough muscle into it that he did swing Shingo around so he didn't land completely on the top of his head. So that was a little scary. Shingo hits a suplex. Tanga Loa hits a spear to Shingo. Shingo Rana's out of a power bomb attempt. I don't think I've seen Shingo do a Rana before. I don't think that's
not that I can remember.
So he does that and then hits a pumping bomber. They exchange some strikes. They double down after a headbutt from Tanga Loa. Shingo hits a reverse GTR, and then this crazy, wicked high angle Last of the Dragon that looked like it killed Tanga Loa to get the win. So Shingo, now with 10 points, sits up there with the rest of them, and Tanga Loa with 4 is now eliminated.
This was good shit.
This was very good, yes. So, like you said, I'm looking forward to see what Tanga does after this G1. Seeing if they might do some more singles stuff, or if they start kind of incorporating some of the stuff that they've done as singles into their tag stuff, and kind of elevate their position as a tag team. Not as
we got World Tag League right around the corner, too.
Right. So we're going to see these guys again, most likely. I'm assuming these guys are not going back, not leaving Japan until after Wrestle Kingdom, because if they needed to come back for Wrestle Kingdom, they'd have to come back before Christmas to quarantine for the 2 weeks. So I'm assuming they're going to be at Wrestle Kingdom, but we'll see. And then we go to the main event of the evening. We alluded to it a little bit. This was Kota Ibushi going in with 10 points versus Great Okan with 8 points. And this is how you work a main event Great Okan match. Mm-hmm. They basically started out doing a worked MMA match. So they're just standing and trading, hitting some leg kicks and just throwing some punches. And Kota Ibushi hit a big high head kick. Khan got his arm up to sort of block it. And then they go into submission wrestling, and they work that for a while. I actually only wrote like 7 lines of text for this, which normally a match like this would end up being like a half page, because it was just like so much kind of worked MMA, submission wrestling, MMA, submission wrestling. Then they start getting into near the end of the match. They just slap the shit out of each other. They kick each other a bunch. They punch each other a bunch. They just beat the crap out of each other. Kota Ibushi hits a Bomaye for a 2, which gives Khan a nice bloody nose. Khan grabs a knee bar, transitions to an ankle lock, which then Ibushi hits an enziguri out of. He then hits a stiff, straight to the face palm strike, hits a crazy knee to the face, which I thought almost like legitimately knocked out Khan because it looked so damn hard. But it looked like he survived it. Khan sidesteps the Kamigoye and hits a head kick for 2. But Ibushi ain't messing around anymore. He pulls down the knee pad. He goes for the Kamigoye. Khan grabs his knee, exposed knee, with a claw, and then he like grabs Ibushi by the throat with his other hand and like picks him up. But Ibushi in that position hits a knee strike to the head and then hits the Kamigoye for the pin. It was awesome. This match was awesome. So fun.
Great. Okan, like, his matches are so interesting and weird, and I mean that as praise. This was just neat. Like, he wrestles in a way that just feels like classic New Japan to me. And then you have Kota Ibushi, who is Kota Ibushi. And that knee strike that you talked about that you thought Okan was knocked out. Holy shit, that was so very violent. And then the claw to the Kamigoye and trying the this little finishing stretch was so good. So good. I love this match.
Yeah, so at the end of this evening, Kota Ibushi is sitting with 12 points, which I believe that means Shingo, Zack, Kenta, and Ibushi are the only ones still alive, because Great Okan is eliminated by this loss because his bye match is coming up. So even if he wins his next match, he can only get to 10 points. And then Ibushi, his bye match is the other night, so he can only get to 14 points. So we have the 12 points with Ibushi, and then Shingo has 10, but he has lost to Ibushi. So he would have to win his next 2, and Ibushi would have to lose his block match. And that would be the same with Zack.
And Zack would also have to... Yeah, Zack would also have to lose.
Yeah, Zack will have to lose a match, one of his block matches. Because if Zack wins both of his matches and Ibushi wins, he's got the tiebreaker over Ibushi. So,
yeah, Ibushi still has Kenta to go, right?
Right, Kenta on the last night. So I'm assuming Kenta is going to win his next match, which would put him at 12, and then Kenta and Ibushi will be at 12 points for the final night. I believe that's probably going to be the breakdown how that goes, and it's going to either be Kenta or Ibushi winning that block. That's my. I don't think Zack Sabre Jr. is going to, but he'd have to drop one match. Who's he up with? Who's he fighting next?
Hold on.
Or in the last two. Ibushi, Zack versus Yano. So he's probably going to beat Yano tomorrow. And then on Monday, who does he face? Tanga Loa. So it could be a very interesting final night with that. Because that's actually the main event, is Tanga Loa. So Tanga Loa could play spoiler. So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, we shall see.
Yeah, because the final night for A block is Great Okan has his bye match, but he's going to be facing Kojima. Ibushi versus Kenta, and then we have Ishii versus Yano, Shingo versus Yujiro, and then currently they have listed as the last match is Zack Sabre Jr. versus Tanga Loa. So it could come down to Tanga Loa playing spoiler to take out Zack.
Yeah, and I wonder about, because they had a singles match at Dontaku this year, and Zack pinned him, so Tanga might get his revenge win there. But look, we're getting down into the home stretch, and we have 4 men alive in A block and 3 alive in B block.
Yep. So, since there's no AEW, I think we're going to strive to watch Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and do a show on Thursday before I leave for vacation. So it'll be completely up to date. And then when I come back on Monday, then we can, right? Because there's no matches from when to when. So Thursday. And then there's no new matches until Monday. So we might not miss anything. Yeah, that should work.
Yeah, there we go.
Anything else you want to touch on with New Japan before we wrap it up here? This G1, I mean, we're sitting here, you've watched Night 14. I haven't watched that yet, but I will as soon as we're done with this. So we're 14 days in, and it's actually been a pretty fun G1.
Yeah, and Night 14, other than the evil match, is really fucking good.
All right, cool. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, I'm going to start watching that. As soon as I get this uploaded, I'm going to go start watching that. Yeah. Anything you want to touch, or are you good?
I'm good, man.
All right, cool. Thanks, everybody, for watching and listening. If you're listening to this as a podcast, we do the show live on Twitch and YouTube, so you can follow the links in the show notes to those. You can follow us on Twitter at That's Wrestling 1 with the number 1. I post the links to the YouTube and the YouTube video that will be live for that show. Twitch doesn't stay. Okay, YouTube needs to fix this, that they need to have an address for your channel for your live stream, so it's always the same. Something they need to fix. So Twitch is always there. Link to our Discord is in there as well, and you can follow Trae at WrestleIsm. So for Trae, my name's Eric. You've been watching and listening to That's Wrestling. See you later, guys.
Bye.